What's up, guys? Caught me hydrating. Gonna hydrate this time before I talk. But I'm gonna tell you guys a story. We're gonna time travel. We're gonna go back in time. So, yeah, crazy week. I think I'm gonna start going live on Thursdays from now on. It's just easier. I feel like it's easier to go live on Thursdays. You know, it's near the end of the week. People are starting to think about the weekend, that kind of deal. Sub right conservative, it has been a while. Well, I mean, I went live last week too. Bro, we need to make sure Trump wins, says Ghostface. Yeah. He will. I really do think he will, honestly. Joey, what's good? I got your email. I'll have to look at those videos later tonight. Hang on. Let me adjust this camera. Okay. Please give it a like on the way in, guys. 28 people watching, 8 likes. Darcy, thank you for the super chat. Trucker says Trump 2020. What's up, guys? I'm not gonna be too long on this. I've been thinking about this for a while. Now, a lot of you have heard this story before, but every time that I tell it with more detail, right? Because it jogs my memory. So I just want to tell you guys a story. We're just gonna time travel really quick. We're gonna go back to the year 2008, right? Okay, so in 2008, I lived in Colorado. I was in college, and that was an election year, right? So Obama comes to my campus. Everybody's excited. Obviously, I'm excited. It's my first time voting. I'm really, just enthusiastic. Just the idea of a black president, and this is my first time voting. I want to be a part of history. Everything just felt good. I remember election night. It was fun. Had a group of black students on campus. We all got together. We had beer. We made a night out of election night. It wasn't just any old election night for us, right? So Obama wins. Everyone goes ecstatic. Everyone goes crazy. It's fun. People are literally crying. We all rush to the black student office. I forget what it's called. The Black Student Organization office. A resource office for black students on campus. We go in there. Almost all the black students on campus were in that office. Everyone's just crying, just happy, just ecstatic. History had been made, and we felt that our country had taken a giant step forward, right? Like we're moving in the right direction. We're about to realize Martin Luther King's dream. That's what it felt like. And I remember all the news outlets just reporting positive stuff. Okay. Now, fast forward through Obama's first term, and I'm still in college, so I'm not engaged in politics or anything like that. I did not vote for Obama based on any policy. It was just a general hope and change message and black guy running, right? I'm not going to lie about that. That's why probably most black people voted for Obama. Fast forward to his second term, though. Okay. Now at this time, I'm living in Minneapolis. I'm in the workforce. I got a job. The economy's not doing so well. But again, I'm not focused on politics at all. But I start noticing racial tension building. And I'm like, what? We have a black president, though. Like, I thought we've healed racism. This was my naivety speaking. I'm like, we've healed racism. We're good. Or at least we're moving towards that. Obviously, racism's not gone, but we got a black president now. Like, what's everybody tripping for? Well, little did I know at the time that there were these social justice movements taking fold. The radicalization of our country, the subversion was beginning, and the economy wasn't doing well. So I experienced like a layoff because of the economy. Also, I got hit with that individual mandate of Obamacare, which sucked. It wasn't a good time. And I was starting to ponder, like, should I leave America? Like, I was really feeling that way with all the police shootings and just everything going on. But you know what? I did not see from the news the entire time that Obama was in office, the 8 years that that man held office. I didn't see the news report even one time of the Ku Klux Klan protesting, no marches, no rallies. It's not like they weren't still happening. I mean, the Klan has been around forever, but their numbers have dwindled over the decades, right? Nobody buys into what they're selling. But the news didn't report anything on it. You would think that, going back to 2008 on Obama's election night, like the next day, all the white supremacists and Klan members and just people, the neo-Nazis, whatever, you figure that they would be storming in the streets, waving flags, swastikas, whatever. You'd think that they would be marching like, hell no, we got a Negro president, whatever. You would think that that would be the case, but it wasn't. And nobody thought about it. Nobody talked about it. Okay. Now that you have that context, right? So black president gets elected in 2008. Everybody's happy. Country feels like it's moving forward. You would think that if America was very racist place, number one, we wouldn't have elected a black president. That's a whole nother story. But number two, the people who are opposed to it would take to the streets. They would go to burn cars, do something to make their voices heard. But it never happened. Now, fast forward to 2016. Donald Trump gets elected. And I was neutral to Trump. I've told you guys this 100 times. I didn't love or hate Trump. I just saw him as an outsider. I'm like, okay, outsider, cool. The day after Trump wins, you see all the major cities from Seattle to New York, everything in between. There were marchers, there were protesters, there was vandalism, there were riots. It was chaotic. And not only that, you saw white supremacists and neo-Nazis and Ku Klux Klan and all of that suddenly gaining media attention. And I'm thinking to myself at the time, like, wait, what? Like, are they trying to say that that's why Trump got elected and all these white supremacists are emboldened now that Trump is in there? I'm like, so what you're saying is you have all of these white guys that are super racist, right? But they're so dumb and weak that they needed some de facto general to give them their marching order so they could be like, oh, now I'm racist and I'm going to be proud about it. Like, wouldn't they have been proud about it before? Why did they need to have a white president to embolden them? But that is what the media sold us. That is the lie. That is the big lie, is that Donald Trump rose to prominence because of this huge white lash, as Van Jones calls it, but a backlash to the 8 years we had a black president. So you get what I'm saying? I'm not going to ramble on that story. So we had a black president for 8 years, almost a full decade, and not one story, or if there was, it was tiny, of white supremacists and neo-Nazis and KKK and Confederates and all of this. It didn't come out until 2016 when Donald Trump ran as a Republican. That's when it came out and everybody bought it. Everybody bought it. How does that work? So I say all that to say the media, and most of you know this, like I'm preaching to the choir, the media knows what they're doing. The people in charge, the pundits, the talking heads, the journalists, they all know what they're doing. They know how to shape public opinion. They know how to manipulate. They gaslight. They convince. They pulled this huge, this got to be one of the greatest mind tricks ever. They convinced everybody in this country that after 8 years of a black president, that America would then revert and go back to its deeply racist, white supremacist, bigoted roots after the black guy's out, because a white guy comes in. It's like, all right, everybody come out of your racist hiding places now. All right, it's time to be racist. You guys go over there, be racist, do this, hate crime here, hate crime there, and go. And here's all the dog whistles. That's what happened. That is exactly what happened. And here we are, 2.5 years into Trump's presidency, and you have people every single day saying all this stuff. You got to be careful. Hate crimes are on the rise. There are white people in the streets attacking black people. None of it is true. None of it is true. In fact, the exact opposite is true. People are afraid to be called racist. People get called racist for less things than hate crimes. You don't even have to be an actual racist to be called a racist anymore. It's lost its entire meaning. We don't know what racist is anymore. We don't, because they've called everything racist. They've called everything a hate crime. Everything's bigoted now. So they've pretty much amplified, and they've blown it way up, because they were willing to sacrifice would-be victims of hate crimes and all that in the name of a political agenda. And I don't know how they managed to pull the wool over so many people's eyes, but I was not fooled from the very beginning. The day after he won, and they're like, the consensus is in, Mike. Everybody hates Donald Trump. It's not like you can't dislike him or be neutral. You have to hate him. That is pretty much your ticket to be in the left, their group. That's what it is. You had to hate Trump. And I was like, wait a minute, but I don't, right? I'm not his fan, but I'm not hating him either. And so I found I found ABL's channel. I found Anthony Brian Logan's channel first, and boom, I'm like, wow, I'm learning so much. And it opened my eyes. It literally changed my life to finally listen to conservatives and hear conservative values, beliefs, principles. I'm like, this makes so much sense. I think I'm gonna hitch my wagon to this horse. This feels like a winning horse right here. I like this positive message. I like the message of prosperity and hope, and like real hope, prosperity, freedom, liberty, just the can-do attitude. Meanwhile, on the left, where I grew up and spent so much time, it was just festering negativity. It was doom and gloom always. And I found myself dissenting from that. But the more that I learned and listened to conservatives, I started finding all these different conservatives. I didn't know who Ben Shapiro was. I didn't know who half the people I listen to now are. I didn't know who they were. But the more I listened to them, thank you for the super chat. Mayella, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so the more that I listened to conservatives, and they would talk about like, things are crazy since Trump got elected. I don't, friends and family, they've unfollowed me and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, dang, that's kind of crazy. I'm like, not my friends, not my family. No. And when I started learning truth, when I uncovered these truths, they excited me. First, they pissed me off. Like when I found out there was no party switch and all that, I was pissed off, but I was also anxious to go out and share the good news. Check this out. And what I found was I was met with intolerance from the people that claim to be so tolerant. I was really blown away by that. I was taken aback. It still blows my mind, right? For every single Instagram post, that's where I'm kind of like breaking into an echo chamber is Instagram. Every time I post, I'll have someone who I thought was a friend unfollow me. And that's fine. I mean, it's not a popularity contest. It's more of a symbol. I see it as symbolic. Okay, like I've got these followers. These are friends. These people I know, cool, whatever. But the very second that they unfollow me for telling the truth, I'm not out there fabricating. I'm not spreading lies. Nothing I post has been propaganda. There's been a few posts where it's like funny. It's a meme. But for the most part, I'm telling the truth. And people who I thought were so cool, so progressive and woke or whatever, they completely just shut me out, just done. And I'm like, wow, I just didn't know. I had no idea, but it's changed the course of my life to have such a positive message and know that it aligns with my beliefs and what I view, like what I see the world as, the world I live in. I don't live in that world where you're a victim. You know, your skin color means because you belong to this group, here's your assigned status. Here are your worldview glasses. You need to put them on and view everything through the lens of your skin color. Anything that happens to you that's wrong, you can retreat into that identity and you can claim victimhood. Like, this was racist. This was obviously a hate crime. That lady cut me off because she hates black people. Right? That person gave me a dirty look because they don't like black people. That person locked their doors on their car because they're afraid of blacks. That's kind of what the victimhood is you look for, you go searching for hatred and bigotry. And oftentimes when it's not there, you manufacture it. And that's what we're seeing right now on a micro scale and a macro scale, right? Going back to how the news successfully pushed the propaganda that Trump emboldened a bunch of racist white people. The Klan never stopped holding rallies. Let's make no mistake about it. The Ku Klux Klan has always held rallies. They probably still burn crosses up in Georgia. Who knows? Who cares? The fact of the matter is, during the 8 years that Obama was president, the media didn't cover it. It's not that it stopped happening. It's not that America was becoming less racist. America has been less racist for a while. The media wasn't covering it, but the very that they could get a microphone in their face to prop up a narrative and fan it out to everyone. That's what they did, and that's what happened. And we're seeing an extreme backlash to it now, because now you have all of this anti-white hatred and all of this. Let's demonize. Let's make sure that the MAGA hat goes down in history as a symbol of hate, which is why I feel so strongly about the MAGA hat, everything as it relates to MAGA, because to me, MAGA doesn't have anything to do with Trump, as I told you guys last week. So I just wanted to tell that little story just because it's important as I am reaching I'll be reaching my 1 year anniversary since I started my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel in March of last year. And it's crazy. If you would have told me back in even 2 years ago, 10 months ago, I guess, maybe 2 years ago, if you had told me 2 years ago, Mike, you're going to have a YouTube channel and you're going to be speaking truth to power, and you're going to have an army of people following you who support you and who are united with you, and you're going to be on the right side of history, fighting for the right things, fighting for truth, love, light, positivity, freedom, sovereignty. You'll be fighting for all of those things in 2019. If you had told me that 2 years ago, when I was living in Minnesota with a job that I hated and I was going nowhere in, surrounded by people who were just anti-Trump and anti-this, anti-that, just negativity, focused on anti-stuff. If you had told me I'd be living in Florida and have a YouTube channel and be growing my following, be featured on the Mark Levin show, been on a walk away campaign, went to Washington, D.C. for the first of its kind Young Black Leadership Summit, I would have said you were insane. And yet here I am. And so as I reflect on that first year, my first year in politics, you know, it's important to kind of look back and see, like, all right, what was the timeline, the chronological order of events that led me to this epiphany, this moment where I'm like, I'm learning that everything was upside down, right? Is inverted. The people who I thought were horrible and racist and bigoted and sexist and intolerant are actually the people who are the most tolerant, the most accepting. I retweeted last night. I'm going to read it to you guys because I want to give the guy a shout out because he does have a YouTube channel. Okay, his name is Damani Felder. And I believe his channel is called The Wright Brothers. So check out The Wright Brothers. Okay, The Wright Brothers on YouTube. I retweeted him yesterday because he said, names liberals call me: coon, sellout, Uncle Tom, race traitor, Oreo, bootlicking Sambo, and house inward. Names conservatives call me: brother, American, patriot. And then he said, guess which side I'm on? Boom. There you have it. I want to stop saying that the truth is stranger than fiction, but first, the truth has to stop being stranger than fiction. It is literally true that if I were to walk down the street into a crowd of people wearing MAGA hats, if I have my MAGA hat on, they'll know I'm one of them. If I'm just, let's say I have an Obama t-shirt on, probably nothing's going to happen. They might look at it and be like, oh, Obama supporter, right? Don't like Obama. That would be it. There would be nothing else. Nothing else, okay? That's the truth. But the media wants you to think if I were walking down the street and there's a bunch of white guys in a MAGA hat, that I should turn around and run the other way because that's just the Ku Klux Klan in 2019. In reality, if I had on a MAGA hat and they knew I was one of them, like, right, I'm on that side of truth or whatever, they would high-five me. They would call me patriot, brother, American. Now, let's say I put on the MAGA hat and I walked through Seattle. What would happen? I would be called a bootlicker, a Sambo, a coon, an Uncle Tom by a bunch of white liberals, probably black liberals too. Black liberals give white liberals a pass, in my humble opinion, because they agree. So they're probably like, yeah, go ahead, call them that. They don't care. So how is it that I'm able to see this, right? I don't have any special powers or cognitive abilities that someone else doesn't have. I'm just using my eyes and my common sense, and I'm saying, okay, I see that there is still racism, but the racism that I'm seeing is totally different. It's the exact opposite of what the media is telling me. These objective truth tellers that I'm supposed to trust are telling me that the real racists are in the Republican Party, and they're emboldened under this new president, Donald Trump. It's just, you can't fathom how people aren't able to see through that. Thanks for the super chat, Joey. Appreciate it. Joey says, we need people like you. We need you, bro. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, even though my channel is severely shadow banned, demonetized. They demonetized my most recent video. I talked about Fox News and the DNC shading them. I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. God is guiding my steps. And if I'm meant to blow up and have 100,000 plus reach, that's fine. You know, I'm not here to be the biggest voice. I'm here to be a voice. Because we don't have enough voices. We can't have enough voices. All of the other voices on the opposing side, they have megaphones to shout through. They got 2+ million Twitter followers. But I want to stay on track here. So a lot of what I've been told and what I believed for all these years, and especially in the last 2 years with how they've driven it at me, or driven this narrative at me and other blacks and pretty much non-whites, is you need to fear white people wearing the red hat. And there are people who, for mental gymnastics reasons and just straight up being brainwashed and their brains on autopilot, they just bought it wholesale. I can't wrap my brain around it. Like, so I posted on Instagram earlier about the guys in Hollywood, right? The self-hating white guys in MAGA hats that were like crawling around like dogs and barking and whatever. They had leashes on. It was super retarded and weird stuff. And I just posted, I'm like, wow, because Donald Trump is president, your behavior has devolved into this cringy display of art. And I got a comment from somebody who I follow, I've been friends with, you know, when I was in Minnesota. Is like, You always call this out, but you never call out displays. All the times Trump supporters have done weird stuff and violent stuff. That's what he said with no evidence. And this is not the first time it's happened. He's gone on one of my posts before and said, why aren't you showing all the violence coming from Trump supporters? Look at the Trump supporter violence. Why are you overlooking that? And I said, show me an example. Show me. He said, just Google it. Look it up. They always do that. This is what I hate about the left. This is what I just can't stand it. They'll tell you something is true. And then when you're like, prove it to me, they're like, look all around you. Google it. They try to shift the burden of proof onto you. That's not how it works. If you're going to make a claim, you need to be able to back that claim up instantly. And he has yet to do it. I'm like, show me the compilation video. Show me where Trump supporters are taken to the streets and attacking people and putting their bigotry and hatred out on display. Don't get me wrong. There are some idiots out there. There are some random people who are out there, probably in Trump hats, doing stupid shit. Okay, fine. I'm going to give you that. I'm not dumb. I know that there are isolated incidents, but the way that he talks and the way that all these anti-Trumpers talk is that it is rampant, Mike. It is widespread everywhere. How do you not see it? I'm like, how do you see it? How is it that, don't ask me how I'm not seeing it. Tell me how you are seeing it. Where are you seeing it? Is it a mirage? Are you playing like Pokemon Go? Do you have some like superimposed reality wherever you're walking and looking at your phone, like, oh, there's a MAGA supporter beating up a black kid. Oh, there's another one beating up a gay kid. Oh, there's Ed Gillespie in his pickup truck chasing down minority kids in his pickup truck with the "Don't tread on me" on the front and the Confederate flag on the back. Like, who, where? Show me. Give me the evidence to support your claim. Otherwise, you're just blowing hot air. You're blowing smoke. You have cognitive dissonance, because I can show you at least 50 instances of fake hate crimes and or Trump supporters being attacked by Antifa, all these other random fringe leftist groups, or just, random protesters, Trump supporters being run out of restaurants, Trump supporters having their hats snatched off, Trump supporters having guns pulled on them. Show me Trump supporters pulling guns on people. Can you do it? Oh, no, you can't. Okay, that's what I thought. So why don't you open up your brain and realize that maybe the information you've been fed is a lie? And that's what I think I've been struggling with the most, is trying to reason with people who just don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to, even when you put it in front of them, you put visual evidence in front of them, like, look, here, it's happening. Please show me that the opposite is true, because what you're saying is like, no, it's actually all the Trumpers that are violent, bigoted and all that. I'm like, okay, yeah, show me. They don't want to do that. Instead, they just want to talk in circles. They won't actually present, and then they'll go silent, right? Because they're not able to provide evidence or examples to support their claim. And so that's why it's frustrating. That's why I feel like torn. Like, all right, well, is it even worth trying to talk to people? Is it actually doing any good? Or should I just stay the course and keep fighting the bigger battle, which is the propaganda that keeps getting pushed down? It keeps coming out. And it's not just against Trump supporters or people wearing the MAGA hat. It is against conservatives, libertarians, Christians, some liberals, people who are center left, just pretty much anyone who isn't far left, people who aren't on the anti-Trump train. If you're not on that train, they see you as there's something wrong with you. You can't even have a neutral stance on Trump. That's why I said I would have, had I had even a sliver of information back in 2016, I would have pulled the lever for Trump. No problem. No problem, because there is no way that Hillary Clinton was the best thing for the country. I did like some of what Bernie had to say, but Bernie is too far left for me. And I just knew, like, he's just way too out there. Too many handouts, too much government will take care of you cradle to grave. I know it's best. That just, no. But like, had I known that, and had I met conservatives early on, and learned everything that I know now, it would have it's just crazy to think what difference it could have made. But I just can't seem to understand how the truth is right there in front of people, and yet they are still believing the opposite. And these aren't dumb people. These are friends. These are family members. These are people I used to call friends or acquaintances, co-workers from the past, people that they're like, instead of me trying to understand where Mike is coming from, instead of let me see, like, where's he getting this information from? Let me try to understand his position. Instead, it's like, I'm going to cut that dude off and unfollow him because he contradicts what I believe. I don't like what he has to say. I don't like that he's sharing facts with me. I reject the facts. Ugh, I don't know, guys. I really don't know. But I tell you what, it's agonizing. It's something where, because I can't live a lie, it's really hard to watch other people live a lie. It really is frustrating. It's one of the hardest things, honestly, to have to deal with in our world, because unlike the intolerant left, I don't have a problem sharing the world with people who disagree. I see, that's the thing. I never thought that I was better than anyone else. I never looked down my nose at other people. I never treated anyone like they were beneath me. And that's why I've had so many friends throughout the years. It's because Mike was always that cool, down-to-earth person. He's chill. But you have people who they think that they are more worthy of oxygen than a Trump supporter, than me, than a conservative, than someone who disagrees with them. They're like, I don't want to share the world with them. In fact, we should put them in re-education camps. Like, let's censor them. Let's silence them. They're not allowed to talk because they disagree. They have the wrong worldview. They have the wrong opinion. I've decided that person is immoral. They're a bad human because they disagree. Because they don't want illegal immigration, they're a bad person. That's what a lot of people on the left think. And I think there's that when someone unfollows me, right? Because I've never unfriended someone, never unfollowed someone, never treated anyone differently because of a disagreement on politics, on sports, on anything. It's just not a thing. And I have this hunch, and I haven't met all Trump supporters, obviously. There's a lot of us. I just have a hunch that if we were to be playing tribalism, like, I would feel like this is my tribe, because I just have this belief that the majority of Trump supporters think just like I do. Not super rich, don't act pompous and snooty and snobby, accept people for who they are, regardless of their gender, their sexual orientation, their skin color, what socioeconomic background they're from, what car they drive. I just have a hunch that that is who Trump supporters are. And shame on the people who want to live a lie and smear good people, throw them under the bus, treat them like shit because you're upset that Hillary Clinton lost. So for the people that unfollowed me, and I know I never know who's watching my channel. So I'm gonna speak as if those people are watching. The fact that you would unfollow me or unfriend me because I have a difference in opinion, that says more about you than it does me. And I'm just gonna leave it there. So I'm gonna move on. But I just had to get that out there, guys. I had to, because I have this app, see, that tells me, oh, you got a new unfollower. I'm like, oh, who unfollowed me this time because they got triggered by the truth? And then I'll see who it is, and I'm like, oh. And see, I don't really care about, oh, now I only have this many followers, because it's like for every unfollower I have, I gain like 10. So that's great. I'm just happy to be on the side of truth, on the side that loves the country, on the side that believes in freedom and prosperity and values human life before birth, during birth, and just after birth. Okay. So let's talk about, I want to piggyback on my video from earlier where I said this is spiritual warfare. And I've said this before, but then I get sucked back into the left-right paradigm. Well, with the recent developments of Rand Paul turning his back on Trump and turning his back on us, the American people, he sided with insanity. He did mental gymnastics to convince himself that, well, I better stick by the Constitution. I'm going to go against Trump, even though Trump's in this situation because insane people wanted to block him because Trump derangement syndrome. Trump still doesn't have a right to do this. So I'm going to just, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. But Rand Paul and other libertarians like him gave me hope that we could have some form of sanity and morality and principalities in our political system. And with that term, and basically the Republican Party sucks, not the Republican values and the principles, not like what the Republican Party was founded on, but the Republican politicians suck. They don't back the president. They might as well be Democrats. They're globalists. They're neocons. They're war hawks. They're yada, yada, yada. Never Trumpers. They suck. They're not going to defend him. They're not going to go to bat for him. They have zero backbone. And they might as well be Democrat. So the way I see it, Trump is kind of like the last hope. I don't see a new party of Republicans coming in that are actually going to hold Democrats' feet to the fire, call out their double standards, their insane double standards, like with this Ilhan Omar thing that I'll get to in a second. It just reminds me that this left-right paradigm, this falsehood of Democrat, Republican, that's not what this battle is. There's not, I don't think we're going to, that's why I don't even like using the terms Democrat, Republican. I know I still say left, like the left. That's just out of habit. That's just to describe people who are on that side, because there is a division. There are two sides, no doubt, but it's not a donkey and an elephant. It's not liberal or conservative. It's not. It's spiritual. It's ideological. And this is proof of that. It's like we're not fighting over who's going to raise taxes more. It's like we're wrestling. It's tug of war. It's like, are we going to choose tyranny or are we going to choose freedom? Tyranny or freedom? And I'm on the freedom side. I mean, I just think that to call it like conservative, Republican and stuff, it just feels like Matrix talk. It just feels like the same old, same old. And I know there are probably some of you who aren't there yet. Some of you probably believe in like the QAnon plan, Trump's elaborate plan to take down the deep state. Come on, man. Like, I'm not buying that. Hillary Clinton still walks the streets freely. Pedophiles walk the streets. There's been no indictments. I'm not buying it. The people who commit the most horrific crimes in the world walk the streets freely. When are the high crimes going to be prosecuted? That's when I could believe in like, oh, QAnon. And I know there's a lot of info out there and like you can draw a lot of correlations like, oh, look at this cryptic message. That's fine. But at the end of the day, for those of you who subscribe to High Impact Flicks, he talks about this a lot. He says, it is a dog and pony show. It doesn't matter who's in there. All it is the QAnon stuff they're talking about. Well, this is how, what we're saying is we need the good guys in government. Well, we've already covered that there can really never be any good guys in government. I don't believe that there is such thing as a career politician with good intentions. How is that even possible? Throughout all the data we have, throughout human history, have we had any good career politicians? Maybe one or two anomalies out there, but They're the exception to the rule. The rule is power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, whatever that quote is. It's true, man. People who get power and they grow their power and they make a career out of it, they do not care about the people they're in power of. Their goals are to maintain their power by any means necessary. You can see it every single day with these leftist politicians. They think black people and brown people and the people that they need, because we don't need them, they need us. They push out these lies, these conspiracy theories, this specter of racism, because they know that that keeps people in a perpetual state of fear, and it helps to control their decisions, to make them do what they want them to do, which is pull the lever for Democrats so we can stay in power, and we're going to continue chasing down that boogeyman. You notice with the left, it's always doom and gloom because they want power. Something's always on fire. There's always a dragon to slay, right? It's always a dragon. They've always got to, we got to do this, climate change. And you know, the way that they framed it, they've actually done it very strategically. I got to give them props. They've done a great job subverting and manipulating people by saying, even though you don't see racism every day in your life, just trust me when I say it's out there. It's in the ether. It exists all around you. Because they've told people that over and over and over and over again, and the Mockingbird media just repeats the message, people will keep that in their mind all the time. It's like superimposed. It's an overlay over their reality. Like, yes, racism, white supremacy is all around. If I'm not experiencing it, someone in California, someone in Michigan, someone in Maryland, somewhere in America, there's racism and white supremacy stopping me and blocking me. And because of that, I'm always going to have this perpetual state of anger, mistrust, fear, and I'm going to pull the lever for Democrats because they're the good guys that are going to go out and search for this Loch Ness monster. They're always searching for it. You notice that they're always looking for it. They're always talking about slaying dragons. They're always, well, they're not saying slaying dragons, but they're always talking about, we got to fight racism. We got to income inequality, in gender inequality, the gender pay gap. They're always doing that. Fighting for rights. They know that if they say that once, that message can live on. They can continue repeating that, right? They can just continue doing that. Politician is like a pull string doll. They repeat the same 8 things over and over, and they only say it around election time. Like, you know, go vote now. Go vote for me. Go to the, you know, let's get you to the polls. Prime example, Hillary, the lady who won't go away. She just won't go away. This woman goes down to Selma talking in a Southern accent. This is not the first time she's done it. She goes down there talking in a Southern accent, and then she insults the intelligence of those people down there, most of them black, probably 90% of them, right? Obviously, Selma, Alabama. She tells them the reason she lost, part of the reason she lost is Wisconsin. 40 to 80,000 people were turned away from voting because of their skin color. And she said it in a Southern accent. You can't get more insulting than that. Hillary Clinton thinks black people are stupid. And she talks in a Southern accent when she's talking to black people. You can't get any more fake, racist than that. Because she thinks black people are stupid. If I just tell them that, if I just say I keep hot sauce in my purse, they're going to vote for me. So it's just with, I guess I was talking about Rand Paul, wasn't I? Rand Paul and all these rhinos have really reminded me that this fight is not political. It's spiritual, guys. It's just the truth. It is just the truth. Yeehaw, Mike, says Tony Patriot. Tony, was that a dog whistle? What do you mean, yeehaw? You talking about cowboys? Tony? Ah, man. Shout out to the moderators, man. Love my moderators. You guys do a lot of work for me. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep all the trolls in check because we've had a few of them come through here. So Tony Patriot in there, right conservative, I believe. Joey's in there, I think. Haven't seen Dina Marie or Mama Ames. I got a bunch of you guys that are moderators. DM. Okay, so let's talk about the double standards, the anti-Semitism, Ilhan Omar, Linda Sarsour, Rashida Tlaib, ISIS brides, Sharia law, like, and I'm sure this is probably getting demonetized, but I don't care. This Ilhan Omar character, and I said this last week, I said in a video, Minnesota, damn, you done messed up. You done messed up. You want to talk about cultural incompatibility. If you've never been to Minnesota, Minneapolis, go there. Go drive around the city. There are little cultural enclaves of Somalian communities, which is fine. There's nothing against them. It's cultural incompatibilities. Ilhan Omar is the microcosm of that. Only she is in Congress. You can't convince me for 1 second that she is America first. She is not. She has shown zero evidence to that. She can be anti-Semitic if she wants. She can attack whoever she wants. She's been on the attack since she got elected. It's like, when are you going to put forth some legislation instead of cozying up to these groups that, I guess, sponsor Hamas or support them, whatever it is? What is with this? And why is it that the left, these leftist politicians, they won't formally denounce her? They'll be like, oh, those were bad comments, or, oh, she just doesn't know. She's just a freshman Democrat. It's like, she's not a freshman in high school. She's a freshman in Congress. She's an adult. She knows exactly what she's doing. So I don't want to hear anything about she's a freshman, she's got to learn. She knows exactly what she's doing. But people don't want to, and see, they're already saying, like, because Republicans are saying she should step down, she should not be a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. They're saying, oh, that's just Islamophobia. You're just being sexist. You're being racist. See, it all comes back to identity politics. It can be used as a dagger or a shield, right? So she can use those three intersectional identities as a shield to any criticism. Like, you can't say anything bad about her, especially if you're a white male Republican, because that makes you a racist, sexist, Islamophobe. So I guess that means she can get away with whatever, right? Because she's been granted sacred cow status. All we can really hope is that she doesn't get a second term, because she's here now and she's a darling of the left. They love her. And she's showing just how much hate is in that party, right? Like, she criticized Israel. She keeps going after Israel. And that's another video. I'm not going there. Okay. I don't like money going outside of the country anyway, regardless of to which country it is. I think we should put our money into our country first and focus on other countries second. That's just my take. America first. But to single out one country and say all the things you said, and then you're getting props from Louis Farrakhan. Oh, and most recently, David Duke. David Duke is trending on Twitter. I forgot about that. I just saw that on Twitter. So let me find the tweet. Okay. David Duke's statement is, of course, my phone would be going slow. I'm like, let me pull up the tweet. Hold on. Here we go. David Duke said the most important member of Congress is Democrat Ilhan Omar because of her anti-Semitic remarks. So that's interesting. David Duke, right? Isn't that the guy that endorsed Donald Trump? Isn't he supposedly a right-winger Republican? The news covered that. When David Duke endorsed Trump, they were all over it. All over it. Well, that same David Duke, who doesn't like Israel or Jews, has endorsed Ilhan Omar. I wonder if we're going to hear anything from the media about it. Oh, no, it'll probably be swept under the rug, right? Because of the double standards. That's why I say, man, the left is running amok in this country right now. Still waiting on Ralph Northam to resign. His wife handed out cotton to black kids, saying, imagine if you were a slave. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? How can people on the left justify the double standards? How do they justify it? It takes so much work to be a leftist nowadays. I don't know how you do it. How do you justify it? The mental gymnastics, I would be worn out. Like, what are we believing in this week? Oh, wait, we got to overlook that, right? Because then they said it. Okay. How do you keep track of all that hypocrisy? How do you keep track of that? Like, Farrakhan's anti-Semitic, but he's Farrakhan, he's left, he's done these things for black people. But, oh, no, the white guy, Republican did it. We got to go after him. But it's like, so you don't really care about anti-Semitic tropes and remarks because you're letting this guy get a pass, or you're not condemning him publicly, but you're forcing all your energy towards this person. Just smoke screen after smoke screen, just double standard after double standard, hypocrisy after hypocrisy. The rules are never applied fairly, evenly. So why even apply them at all? You know, it's stupid, man. So stupid. And on top of that, they want to prop up this, well, I won't say prop up, but kind of, this ISIS bride. Like, oh, her journey to fight back to get back in the U.S. Why is she getting news coverage? Why does anybody care? She went to join ISIS. ISIS wants to destroy America. Well, so do the Democrats, but ISIS wants to destroy America. And because she lived here and she went over there and she wants to come back, oh, my baby, please let me come back. They're going to profile her and talk about her and humanize her and talk about her like in a positive light. They're trying to convince us, gaslight us, to show some form of sympathy for an ISIS fighter or a bride of an ISIS fighter. It doesn't matter. She left the country to go join ISIS. How does that work? Help me get around that, because I can't get through this. It is literal insanity, Emily. You're right. It's insanity. I keep getting these stupid pop-ups on my laptop. Damn it. Okay. So there's that, man. Like, David Duke endorses this woman, says like, yeah, she's the greatest person in Congress. Of course, I have not seen yet anybody from the left say anything about it. But that's a problem. That's going to be a big problem going forward. For David Duke to come out and say something about Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitism, you have to wonder if his views haven't changed, how does he feel about Trump inviting black people to the White House and doing all these things? How do all these supposed white supremacists who love Donald Trump, what do they think of him now? I got to imagine they're not happy with him. Like, you promised us bigotry. I thought we were getting rid of the blacks and the browns. No, instead, he's giving us jobs. It's funny, guys. I'm going to wrap up, though. I think I've blabbed enough, or have I? I could keep going. I could keep going. If you guys keep following, I'll keep going. But, man, it's just, people just don't value the truth. And I think that's the biggest problem. People don't value the truth. They're not willing to rethink their assumptions. And I am one of those people that loves the truth. Even if the truth pisses me off, it's going to set me free. It's like people don't value truth. Do a ride along. You think conservatives are bigots or whatever. Go listen to conservatives speak. Go to a Trump rally. I mean, go to a gun show. Do like challenge your beliefs. Because if your beliefs are strong, they'll stand up. I think that's why it's easier to be a conservative or free thinker, because you constantly, as a free thinker, libertarian, you constantly have to defend your positions. They're always under attack, almost every day, around the clock, actually. You get it from friends, from family. So because you're constantly defending your beliefs and your values, you stand firm. It validates those beliefs, but you also become sharper and more resilient. You're able to defend with more facts, with more truth, with more conviction, right? It's easier. But if you hold a left-leaning position, you don't often come across, because, right, it's not in the mainstream. It's not in the public square. It doesn't dominate the public square. You're not coddled. You're not shielded. Or you are shielded. You are coddled. I said that totally backwards. You're like, what you believe in, you're surrounded by it. Everybody believes the way, because conservatives get censored. If you do have a chance to hear a conservative speak, and say what you want about Ben Shapiro, I know people have mixed feelings. I, for one, I like Ben Shapiro because the way he presents information, the way he states facts, he does talk really fast. But you can't name many conservatives that are better debaters than he is. Someone like a Ben Shapiro can poke holes in almost every argument of the left, almost every single one. And so people on the left don't know what to do when their beliefs get challenged. They shut down, they short circuit, because they don't know how to handle the information. It's like, whoa, that contradicts everything I thought. So I think that's why you see kind of like they lash out or they become hostile, because the cognitive dissonance hits them so fast. That's the only explanation I can come up with. But yeah, I'm gonna read some of your guys' comments, and then I'm getting off of here. I appreciate everybody that is subbed, people that like and share. Again, I am shadow banned so freaking hard, so it's so important that you guys, I'll be lucky to get 10 subs a day. The videos I posted today already they're hovering right around the 500 view mark, but I know they're not really circulating in the algorithms. And YouTube, there's shady stuff going on. Patsy says, keep the faith, brother. I will. You know, the faith never dies. It's never shaken. The truth never dies. When the truth is on your side, that is a flame that burns infinitely. And you don't have to defend the truth as hard as you think you do. Right? Because the truth, no matter how much it is attacked, denied, resisted, it's at the end of the day, it's still the truth. And unfortunately, the other side of this spiritual warfare, they're living some lies. They value the lies. They're in denial of the truth. Not only do they value lies, like I said, I've debunked several lies on my channel. Not only do they value lies, they devalue and have a disdain for the truth. I feel like that's a good spot to leave it at. That sounds like that was the end. DM said, share, thumbs up, Shump, thumbs up. See, my speech is starting to falter. I should probably go to sleep. But I will not give up, art lover. I will not. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thanks to everybody that super chatted. You guys have a good night. And let's make America great again. Peace.